Officer, I swear, I don't have over 3k DPS. Let's take a look. Officer is a pretty underrated battler for a pretty good reason. Compared to Sword, which is the third ever unit you get, he has much lower stats. Now, most people will immediately see the resistance and DPS scaling and think, so that's it? This is a super rare? Really? And will completely ignore him for the rest of their playthrough, completely overlooking the DPS scaling, since to be fair, his damage output isn't that high. What's a little multiplier gonna do? Get him back to Sword's damage? Why not just use Sword then? Well, I'm here to tell you why that isn't the case. Before I tell you the devastating damage this battler can pull off, let's check out his stats, shall we? I'll be using the level 10 stats to be able to compare Officer to his alternate form Sheriff in their weakest state. However, I'll also put up the level 30 stats in the background if you want to know his max strength too. Officer is a pretty basic battler considering he's a super rare. Pretty sure the only thing putting him in this tier is his scaling ability, but he was added in Royal Flush, which was like 2 years ago, so I guess it's a bit late to change that now. Officer shares the same amount of HP as Sword and has similar DPS to Hammer but without the AoE. That is quite underwhelming at best and horrible at worst. Some supporting units like Stunner or Moai can dish out more damage than Officer, the former costing the same amount and having the same recharge while also being ranged. However, to make up for this lack of base damage, he trades for resistance and the opportunity to dish out insane damage towards enemies with high DPS, letting it be an above average meat shield. Now for his alternate form, he pulls out a 6-shooter and starts blasting from afar! 14 studs to be exact. In exchange, he loses all his health, losing all his resistance, increasing his recharge timer by double, lowering his walk speed, forcing him to reload after every 6 shot, and increases his cost by triple. Dude, why they butcher him so much?
You call this resisting arrest? We call this a difficulty tweak.
Officer provides as a pretty good meat shield. Of course, stuff like ceramic or trowel would be better at this role, but Officer, being what the wiki states as a generalist, is good for most situations. Stalling, tanking being one of them. Remember that the battle bricks doesn't give you many units with resistance for a pretty good reason. Resistance is much stronger than defense. Officer is built to counter fast attacking units. Put it in front of a speedster or a speed coil and their DPS will send them flying off the stage straight to the county, if battle bricks even has a law system. Burst damaging units have it even worse. Since their damage is abnormal, their burst attack rate is used. I think you can see where this is going. Dual Dark Heart, gone. Birdshot, gone. Fat Boy, gone. Uzi Rambo? Well, if Officer could shoot from afar instead of instantly getting deleted, then maybe. Wait a minute. Range? Isn't Sheriff Battler just Officer but with range? Sheriff forgoes the meat shield archetype to instead go into the backline to help out, helping with dealing with pesky high DPS units before they can land a hit on your unit. Some pretty good examples are Zip Bomb, Birdshot, Bazooka Muffin, Dark Officer could deal with.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
Let's start off with something not that serious. No traits make him much more dependent on his unique mechanic. Most traitless units have a pretty good reason to be traitless. Tix Collector doesn't attack, Conjurer is already an oddball in the battle bricks, being the only friendly unit that doesn't move, and if we gave Coil any trait, it might as well be the same as putting Hyper Laser on that gun. Officer has no reason to be traitless. Just give him any trait really, like, I don't know, Anti-Devil? His description makes him sound like a horrible person, so it fits, I guess. Officer may have resistance, and I did talk a bit on how resistance is much better than defense, but 30% resistance can only get you so far. He'll get mauled to death by any high fire rate unit or a swarm of units. He'll outlast other non-tanky units for longer, sure, but not by much. Officer relies heavily on his ability to scale with the enemy's DPS. So, what would happen if an enemy just happens to have, no DPS? Well, actually nothing. No, generally, nothing happens. They kind of just have a staring contest while Officer hits the enemy with a balloon. Most range units fall into 4 categories. Below 12 is short, 15 is average, 18 to 30 is above average, and 30 plus is considered pretty far. Why did I tell you this? Well, Sheriff has a very peculiar range stat, 14, meaning that most units will land the first shot on Sheriff, and depending on how much damage that shot deals, Sheriff could just instantly die and not even fire a single shot. Sheriff's low HP makes that pretty easy to do, all things considered. A quick lightning round of 2 downsides because I'm running out of time. Reloading every 6 shots makes him very vulnerable to attacking during that load, and his single targeting is bad for most levels. Finally, as one last nail in the coffin, $600? Every negative is already amplified and they still needed to triple his price. It's not like that's there to stop stacking. His recharge is longer than most battlers. Sure, he works fine, but lowering this down a little bit and you can stop being so situational.
Let's do this.
Officer is actually pretty situational. The situations he's useful in are kinda common, and he gets the most amount of leverage depending on the amount of enemies present on the field that are DPS units. The mere existence of any fast attacking units, burst attackers, or nukers in a level basically beckons you to equip Officer. Many levels have at least 2 to 3 of those enemy types. Chapter 3 specifically contains a bunch like dual Darkheart, Executioners, Warheads, Chainsaws, etc. So, like Farmer, consider putting an Officer in your next loadout. It'll not only help you in the early game this time, that's a guarantee. Now to the next video you go. I gotta go figure out how to make a video on birthday battling. I swear every battler has a good reason to exist. I just gotta... Just give me some time, I'll figure out a reason for this guy's existence.